What is going on, everybody? Riding with Squatch here. I am riding to Jasper with Alex. If I could turn around without rear-ending this car, maybe you can see him. I think so. Okay, yeah, you can see him. Today we're going to talk about a little run-in with the law that I had with Georgia State Patrol. Pretty good while back. But this is what happened. It wasn't even bike related. It was my truck related. So probably, I think it was February 2016, I had come to realize that my truck had a blown head gasket in it. And me, being the MacGyver I am, was like, all right, let's just see if I can figure out how to fix it. And I knew I have pretty good experience working on cars and stuff. Now, when I got a bike, it was a whole new realm to me. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing with a motorcycle. That's why I'm making these videos for you guys, like quick little how-tos, because, you know, if you're like me and you're new to riding, you don't really know what you're doing. If you have experience with cars, you know, a lot of that stuff will transfer over, but there's also a lot of stuff that does not transfer over. So I wanted to fix the truck myself before I took it anywhere else, and I went to AutoZone and bought the head gasket kit, and I started taking the motor apart, and I'll post some pictures like up in here in this area of the motor pulled to pieces. I mean, I had the whole thing ripped apart. And so it took me probably 6 months with working full time and everything to get that done, just because I didn't have any time. Plus it was down in the middle of summer, and sitting outside when it's Georgia humid, God-forsaken hot outside is not something I look forward to after working all day. So it took me about 6 months worth of weekends to finish it. And so the night that I had finished buttoning everything back up together, I had the heads on, I had the intake on, I had the throttle body and all that stuff on. I literally had everything on, but there was one thing I couldn't get to work, and that was the serpentine belt. And I thought it was a pulley tensioner, so I went and bought a new pulley tensioner and put that on. Then I went and bought a new serpentine belt. So this is how it played out. I hopped in my mom's car, rode to the auto parts store, bought the belt, went back to the house, was so excited because it had been 6 months since I had driven my truck, just to button it back up. I put everything back on, to torque, to spec, to everything, and once I put the belt on, I cranked her up. It was just smoking like crazy, and I had no idea what was causing that. And my initial thought was, you know, well, hey, maybe, you know, because it had been sitting open for so long, a bunch of moisture had gotten into the motor, and it's just burning all the moisture out. You know, that was how I justified it to myself. Oh, look, a brother. Hello, brother. What the fuck are you looking at? And so I took it out for a drive, because that's what I really wanted to do, was take it out for a drive. So the way that my neighborhood's set up, you can pull out of my neighborhood, take a right, and there's a median. You're immediately up against the median. So then after you get there, you can turn around there and go back into my neighborhood. It's almost like a little U-turn spot. So what I did was I pulled out of my neighborhood, took a right out of there. The truck was running like crap. I mean, literally it was running so awful. And it was just, oh, it was smoking everywhere. It wouldn't get over 35 miles an hour. And I figured maybe it was because I didn't adjust the valves correctly, or there was a bigger issue that I didn't expect, you know. For all the telltale signs told me it was a blown head gasket, and I figured maybe that's not what it was. So I was turning around to go back to my house, and as soon as I turn around, I get lit up by GSP. And I'm like, what the f, you know, what? I don't understand why I'm getting pulled over for this. And so the cop gets out of the car and, you know, comes up to the window and he goes, license and registration, please, sir. And I was like, yes, sir. So I go reach back into my back pocket to get my license and registration, and I left my damn license in my mom's car that I had just taken to go get the new belt for the truck. I was like, all right, well, that sucks. So he starts telling me, that's against the law, that you could get in big trouble for that, all this stuff. And I'm like, yes, sir, I understand. I'm sorry. Here's my here's my name, my date of birth. And so he looked me up. And one thing that I realized after he went back to his car with my information was I didn't have insurance on the truck. So my initial instinct was I called my father. I was like, hey, I think I'm going to go to jail. And he's like, what do you mean you think I'm going to go to jail? I was like, well, this is what happened. So I told him what happened. And he's like, yeah, you might be screwed, but just see what happens. Call me if it's a certain thing. I'm like, all right, cool. So I ended up sitting in the car for literally like 20 minutes. He just had me sitting there. And he came back and said, all right, I'm going to let you off with 4 warnings tonight. He said, 1, failure to maintain lane. 2, excessive smoke coming out of the truck. 3, the truck being lifted illegally high. And 4, speeding. I got extremely lucky that night. I thank my lucky stars, because if you know anything about GSP, they typically don't give breaks. If they catch you doing something, they're gonna write you a ticket for it. They're pretty strict about things like that. But that's a little story about what happened to me and my run-in with Georgia State Patrol. That's gonna be it for this episode, guys. Thank you for stopping by and watching. Don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment, share with everybody you know, and as always, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the merch store. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time.